A few months ago, I found myself struggling to find time to write. And I was busy with life, work, family, and everything else that I had responsibility over. And so I did something that I've never done before, which is write during my lunch hour at work. I'd use 20 minutes to eat and 40 minutes to write. And to hold myself accountable, I created a group. We called it the Midday Writing Group, where I sent a Zoom link to my writing friends, and every day at 1 p.m. we jumped on the Zoom link or Zoom meeting and we wrote for 40 minutes. All we did was wave to each other hi, no distractions, no small talk, just write. And what started as an experiment literally changed the way I viewed my creativity. Hi friends, my name is Mohammed, and in this channel we explore tools and habits that help us fit reading and writing into our busy life so that we can write our own stories, stay creative and clear-minded. And in this video I want to share with you three things. One is the challenges that I faced before starting to write during my lunch hour. Two, the results that I got from the Midday Writing Group. And three, how you can find time to write even if you are busy. So first is the challenges, and this I have come to realize after getting married, having a kid and working full-time, is that my writing habit or time has changed over time. In the very beginning, when I was younger, before I even got married, I used to practically write whenever I wanted. I was just a college student, and if I wanted to write between classes, I could. If I wanted to write early in the morning, I could. And if I wanted to write later at night, I could. But things change once you are in a relationship or you get married or you have kids. Small windows of opportunity where you can sit alone and just write becomes a golden nugget. It's something that you look forward to. So before the kid, I would either write early in the morning before I even went to work or late at night before I went to sleep. And that worked for a while. After having the kid is when the biggest challenges started to happen. So having a kid, or even kids if you have multiple, you would know that you basically trade in your time for their own, upbringing. Now I no longer can wake up in the morning and just write, because my daughter wakes up at 5:45 or 6 o'clock sometimes, or oftentimes before I even wake up. So she's the one who wakes me up, and later at night I'm just spending more time just with her. Maybe we're doing homework, maybe we are just reading a book, watching TV, or whatever the case might be, and I have less opportunity to just sit down or like myself in a room and write, because I don't see her all day. So the few hours that I see her before she goes to sleep is the only time that I practically get to spend time with her. Now once she is asleep, maybe 8 o'clock or 8:30, I have maybe 2 hours before I have to go to sleep, and by that time I'm already exhausted. I don't have energy and I can't just sit and create make believe stories. The other challenge is finding an accountability partner that can work with your own schedule or work with my own schedule. I remember when I was in my writing program, in my MFA program, in the second year of the program is when my daughter was born. So I became a father. I was still working full time, and I was going through the program or going to school full time. So it was very, very busy time. But even with that busyness, I still found time to write, because I had a group of people that held me accountable for submitting stories. Every 2 weeks, I had to do either one of two things. One is submitting feedback to those who submitted their stories to workshop. So this is basically consists of reading their work, giving them feedback. And I knew at some point in the semester, actually twice, I had to submit a story. Sometimes it's a new story, sometimes a revision of the same story, but I have to find time to write at least 5 times a week, 6 times a week, so that by the time I get to my turn to my submission, I have something to offer that is substantial, that allows me to gain feedback that's good enough for me to improve my writing. And during that time, I would literally be staying up later or waking up even earlier. But the difference is that right now my daughter is 3, and at the time she was just born, so her schedule was different and her demands was different. But still, the accountability put a fuel in me to find time to write. The other challenge that I face about writing, and this was especially after graduating from my MFA program, is being in an environment where I am in the same space and place with writers, so that they can sort of give me the energy to go back to the page. I remember every time we were in class, or every time we hung out after class and talked about writing, our challenges and what we are facing, that just sort of environment gave me the fuel, or gave me the motivation to go back to the page and know that other people are struggling with the same thing that I am struggling with. I wasn't alone. I wasn't just imagining myself, oh, I'm the one who doesn't have what it takes to be a writer. Everybody struggles. Everybody barely has time to do it, and everybody finds it very, very hard to do. So that support, that reassurance, the thing that you get from just being in an environment where other people are passionate about the same thing that you are passionate about no longer was there, and that hurt. So after suffering all of these challenges and finding myself no longer have the ability to sit and write, and taking a long break from writing to the point where I believed that I wasn't gonna become a writer, I'm no longer a writer. I started this midday writing group where I wrote for 40 minutes a day and took lunch for 20 minutes so that I can just focus on my writing every single day. And the results were, in the first 2 weeks after I started the midday writing group, I finished a draft for a story, a 13-page draft where I just wrote every day, and 2 weeks later, I had a draft. Yes, the draft was horrible, like all the other first drafts that I have written in the past and the way first drafts should be, but I had a draft of a story. Finally, after months of struggling to even get some pages in. And the results out of that draft is that I gained the confidence of becoming, or knowing that I am a writer. You know, you forget, if you don't write for a very long time, how to do this writing thing once more, or you read your old work and it's beautiful and you say, when did I even write this? Am I that good? And for me, completing that draft gave me back the confidence that I once had when I was in my MFA program, that I can actually write about topics that are hard, and I can write things that other people think or observe or even experience as beautiful. I remember after that first draft, I was going to work one day and I was literally just thinking about the main character and a very particular decision that he made at the end of the story, and whether it was the correct decision or not, whether it was helping the story or not, or what it meant to the whole story. And just that thinking process of like pondering while walking or while going to work or during your downtime about my actual writing is something that I hadn't experienced in a very long time. And this is what authors do. We solve problems in our sleep. We solve problems of our stories while we are washing dishes, taking walks, talking to others, or reading a book. And that mentality, I even forgot that I had it once in the past. So every time I had these visions or made some internal decision in my head about a particular character or scene, I went back the next day even more excited about writing, and I found the joy of writing again. Yes, writing is hard and it's painful, and there is nothing about it that makes it easy. But these things, when we experience them, gives us a sense of little joy, and those are the things that we should be holding out to the most, because they will give us the energy or the fuel to continue to write in the long term. Because at the end of the day, hardly any one of us will get enough fame or enough money to sustain ourselves from our writing. The reason that we write isn't for those things. The reason that we write is because we know no other way to express the stories that are constantly revolving or swimming in our head except in this form, to put words on the page. So if you've been struggling with writing and you want to create your sort of form of midday writing group, by the way, if you want to join my midday writing group, which we write during weekdays at 1 p.m., I'll leave the link down below for you to join. Sometimes I join at 1 p.m., sometimes my lunch hour changes to 12, but I set it 1 so that everybody can join if they can. You will see people some days, other people you might not, but at the same time, or at the end of the day, you will have dedicated that 1 hour or that 40 minutes for you to write. So if you want to create another time or your own group, here is how to do it. 1 is start small. Always in the beginning is aim to achieve less than what you expect yourself to achieve. So for example, if you think I can fit 40 minutes into my day, in the beginning, just set 20 minutes in that particular hour and just write for 20 minutes. And if you do it for 3-4 days, then you can increase it to 30, maybe 1 week or 2 weeks, and then you increase it gradually. Because in the very beginning, especially if you haven't wrote for a very long time, the habit is way more important than the length of time that you sit or even the quality of the writing. Once the writing sticks, or once the habit sticks, then you can increase the amount of time, the duration, or even get better at the quality of the work. It doesn't matter. Habit over content or duration. Second is find an accountability partner or partners. There is nothing more powerful than doing things in groups. I have friends who live in the same area in New York City, and they would meet at a cafe and write every day. And it works because being in the presence of others who are dedicated to do similar things or do even different things, but they are meeting to just get work done, then you have even more reason to show up for yourself and for others. 3, focus on consistency not perfection. We are obsessed as writers with getting the sentences perfect, with the first draft perfect, with the stories we get it perfect. Do not let yourself be shackled by perfection and just worry about showing up as many times as possible, because if you show up as many times as possible, the more you show up, the luckier you will get to reach as close as perfection for the story as possible. If you don't show up, then you don't even have the opportunity to get close to writing something perfect. And the way I did it, or found the time block of the midday writing group, I literally just sat with my calendar and I scheduled everything that I do on each day. So for work, I blocked a block of time from 9 to 5. The commute to work, I blocked an hour before and I blocked an hour after. I blocked my lunch. I blocked everything so that I can have a bird's eye view of what my day looks like. And then I realized the only pocket of time that I have is during my lunch. All the other time I'm either busy or I don't have energy. And if you are busy and you don't have energy, you can't write. So you have to find the time where you have energy, you are not busy, and the last thing is you are undistracted. When you are sitting in that session, after you find your pocket of time, you have to treat it with a lot of seriousness, with a lot of care. Turn off all your notifications. Don't check your emails, your social media, or anything else. Focus that time, that 40 minutes, 20 minutes, even 10 minutes on just writing. And the compound interest or return of investment that you will gain from just that little time over a year, for example, will be much greater than what you think you can achieve. So that's it for this video, and if you have enjoyed it and you are an aspiring writer, then you will enjoy my video on how this 90-year-old book transformed my writing. Go watch it. In the meantime, thank you for watching and keep writing.